As the Tet Offensive ground to a halt in most of South Vietnam, attention was focused back on Khe Sanh, still braced for a major attack. The biggest problem was resupplying the base. There was no access by road. Everything had to be brought in by air. The North Vietnamese pounded Khe Sanh with mortars, rockets, artillery. This is an Air Force transport hit as it tried to take off. Another round hit a CBS News crew filming the fire. 2 wounded. Increasingly, the North Vietnamese were zeroing in on the airstrip, leaving behind the wreckage of planes and helicopters. Resupplying Khe Sanh became one of the most dangerous missions of the war. Jeff Graumick described one flight.
All of this is bound for Khe Sanh. Tons of ammunition and other supplies to be parachuted into the Marines sometime later today or tomorrow. Resupply from the air, now just about the only way to get material into the Marine outpost. After takeoff, loadmasters check the cargo. Each man has made 8 runs over Khe Sanh in recent days, being shot at every time, having their planes hit once or twice, but so far staying lucky, getting back every time. And now, into the final run over Khe Sanh.
Okay, Flying Eagle, did you get any puffs up there where you were?
20 Tower, be advised, we took a couple incoming rounds near the air freight ramp about a minute ago.
They are, be advised, they are taking incoming rounds at this time. You can probably see some of them.
The 130 is now doing just about 170 miles an hour, only 500 feet over the ground. Low and slow, a perfect target.
5 seconds. Ready. Ready. Green light.
Just after the drop, a wild, twisting climb for altitude. Khe Sanh falling away behind us, the pilot taking violent evasive action to keep from being hit now that the job is done.
But the enemy gunners had their problems too. They continued to take a terrible pounding from the air, especially from the giant B-52s. They were part of Operation Niagara, a name chosen appropriately to indicate a cascade of destruction, the most intensive bombardment in the history of warfare. More than 75,000 tons of explosives were dropped on enemy positions around Khe Sanh. But simpler weapons also were at work, as George Sievertson reported.
They're using all kinds of sophisticated devices in this war, but here at Khe Sanh, they've got one of the old black magic witches' tools, the divining rod. They use them for detecting enemy tunnels, and they say they work. The North Vietnamese have been digging furiously in the Khe Sanh area. The Marines here know they dug tunnels several miles in length into the French perimeter at Dien Bien Phu, and they're on their guard. Every day they sweep the area in front of their wire, and frequently they hit something. Have you found anything out there yet?
Well, yes, sir. We found places we thought were tunnels, and we'd dig for them. We'd dig down about 6 feet below the deck and figure there's nothing there and quit. So we're kind of skeptical. But then about a week ago, one of the incoming rounds down here right in front of our wire uncovered one. And we discovered the reason we hadn't been finding them is because they're about 7 feet now, not 6. And we were just weren't patient enough. We were quitting too quick.
The divining rods are made of 2 lengths of gas welding rods, about 2 feet long. The Marines have scrounged other devices for tunnel detection as well, including the old-fashioned doctor's stethoscope. Put on top of 8-foot stakes driven into the ground, they sometimes produce clear digging noises. Another way of discouraging the North Vietnamese tunnel builders is air power. Air strikes with napalm and high explosives burns off the protective cover for the entrances, and in some cases have caved in hidden bunkers and tunnels. Digging tunnels around here is dangerous business, as you can see, but the enemy has determination, and no one here doubts he'll keep right on digging.
When the enemy wasn't digging, he was shooting. Jeff Graumick described what became a ritual at Khe Sanh.
From this position at the east end of Khe Sanh's perimeter, the war is not a long-range fight between unseen enemy mortar crews and Marine artillery. It is a short-range duel, The North Vietnamese out there, only 200 yards or less away. They are in those bomb craters and trenches, behind those piles of dirt. What appears to be a machine gun barrel poking out of one hole. From out there, the communists shoot at and hit almost every helicopter and cargo plane that flies into or over Khe Sanh. Getting these pictures difficult. The North Vietnamese sniping at cameraman Mike Marriott and Nguyen Vu as they filmed. But when they open fire, the communists run a risk. Forward observers sit here and wait, watching for the gun flashes, and then they shoot back.
Fire, target X-ray Delta 063, over.
Direction 1600.
Direction 1600.
Enemy machine guns firing. 2 guns, 2 rounds, fire for effect. Beautiful. Tell them repeat.
Whiskey 62, repeat, over.
Tell them right 25, repeat. Outstanding. Okay, tell them in the mission.
Forward observer here, Marine Lieutenant Hank Norman, in Khe Sanh since before the communists closed in. This time he's trying to knock out a North Vietnamese machine gunner who has bounced several shots off the dirt piled up around his bunker. Does this go on often?
It's kind of a duel between the NVA and ourselves. They shoot at us and they get down their holes and we shoot back at them. It goes on like this day after day.
This kind of dueling has been going on for weeks now. The only measure of success for Lieutenant Norman, whether the planes get in without being shot at. The last on this day does, which means he either got the North Vietnamese out there, or they have decided to wait until tomorrow. But tomorrow, they or others will be back, and the duel will go on.
What I'm going to do as long as they don't shoot at my planes. They got my mail coming in.